What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Now, I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over my top 3 remakes that I want to happen. Now, a little while ago, I made a video talking about top 5 PlayStation exclusives, PS5 games that I want to be or I hope are in development, and some of those were indeed like remasters or remakes. And this one, it's not just exclusive to PlayStation, although you'll find 2 of the 3 of these games are PlayStation. If you guys like these videos, I really do love making them. Seems like you guys really like watching them. If you guys ever have suggestions for other top lists you guys want me to do, definitely let me know. And also, specifically for this video, I know I'm probably forgetting, tens, if not, hundreds of games that could potentially be on this list. So definitely let me know what your favorites are in the comments. And if I see some that I really like or some that I just flat out forgot about, I would absolutely make another video like this kind of with those included in it. So let's go through this. Again, we're going to start obviously at number 3, go up to number 1. And these are based off of, these are in order, okay? So these are the ones I want like least to most. Number 3 is Prototype. The Prototype games 1 and 2, I want to have a remake. Now, and the thing with this too, that I want to make clear is these are remakes. I do want them to be remade. I would prefer them to be remade rather than remastered. With Prototype, it's a situation where I want more. I think the potential for Prototype has always been so enormous, and the games have never, not once. Now, there's only been 2 games, obviously, but in neither of those 2 games did they capture what Prototype could have been. I think, and I've made videos specifically on Prototype in the past. I think the general idea that we've all talked about is they really just kind of need to start from scratch. There are some good ideas they made from 1 and 2 to go into a 3 that they could do, and there are even ways they could potentially fix their errors. It's just that I think the world and what they've created so far hasn't been good enough. What I will say, though, you could be saying, okay, well, you want a brand new one, or you want it to completely restart. Why do you want a remake? Prototype, I do not think, is an example of a game that can just get a brand new game kind of like greenlit off the ground. Prototype, I think, is an example of a game that you do a remaster or you do a remake of because it doesn't cost as much, it wouldn't be as much work, and you are testing the waters, again, like so many games and developers and publishers have done, to see if people still like this franchise. With Ubisoft Forward, we talked about, hey, Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia, like, could there be brand new games there? And those are games that I don't think are examples of games that need a remake in order to help them out. You know what I mean? They don't need to have games remade and then say, hey, do people still like Splinter Cell? No, people still do. With Prototype, these games didn't sell outrageously well. Okay, these games actually didn't sell well at all. I think the first one did sell like over 1 million, like that number is confirmed, but I don't even know if there are numbers for Prototype 2. So these games were not games that sold outrageously well. They had, bigger-ish budgets that went into these games, but, I really do think this is a classic example of a game that there is a group of people out there that love these games. I love these games. I want more of these games. Again, I think the potential is so high, but I don't think we'll just be given a brand new Prototype. And with that being said, if you remake it, yes, the story and stuff like that will still be beat for beat, probably the exact same thing, but you can change a lot of the stuff with gameplay, a lot of stuff with the mechanics. Obviously, like pop-ins and the graphics just in general were huge problems with literally graphics, frame rate, pop-ins, all of the keywords that were kind of present in the PS3, Xbox 360 era, which still are to some extent now, but much less so. They were definitely huge problems. Mainly like popping in like very short range was a huge problem with Prototype 1, and then Prototype 2 at some points it seemed like it was like a PS2 game rather than like a current gen game at the time. So with that being said, I love the franchise. I want more of these games, but I do want a remake. I think a remake would serve this game really well. Number 2, PlayStation exclusive. I know, I'm sorry, Resistance. Resistance, I think I would choose over like Infamous. I know in the PlayStation exclusive video I said I would prefer, does Infamous need to get remastered? Does it need to get remade? Can we just get a brand new Infamous? Resistance, same thing. Now the reason, really, the thing that kind of wins out with Resistance is this is, again, an example of a game that I don't think you just go ahead and do a brand new game in the franchise. Okay, the Resistance, again, actually kind of the thing that made it so notorious was super solid game, I think, of really, and in my opinion, one of, if not the most underrated games of all time. Okay, I would honestly put Resistance on a list of some of the most underrated games of all time. But the games, none of them, all three of them, did not sell at all. I mean, it's really just a tragedy that happened. But I played all three of them, I actually didn't play the first one at release. I bought it actually after. I think it came with my PS3 when I first bought my PS3. I love those games. I love them to death. I want more of these games. With Insomniac now under PlayStation, is it possible we get it? I think so. And that's another reason. We don't know really the intricacies of Sucker Punch. I feel like there probably should be, if there isn't already, two studios in there that they're doing Ghost of Tsushima. I wouldn't be surprised if they are trying to do more than one game at a time there. Insomniac, though, we know for a fact they are doing lots of things. Insomniac puts out a lot of games over a console generation, so it would not surprise me at all if that was possible. You also have Bluepoint. Now, Bluepoint's doing Demon's Souls, the remake of Demon's Souls, but when they were teasing Demon's Souls, remember, the thing with them is they were trying to tease like 15 different games that they could possibly be remaking, and Resistance was one of them. Now, yes, that could just be like a funny joke. It could just be like they want to do it, or things like that. But at the same time, there could have been more meaning there. Like, they could probably, Bluepoint is, for the most part, they do remakes. Now, they probably want to make their own game at some point, but I guarantee you they probably have like a list of games at their office of like, okay, here's the games we would like to do, or we already have approval to do, and we're allowed to kind of just pick them. And I think Resistance could be on that list. You know what I mean? I think overall Resistance just has more of a likelihood, right? Again, Insomniac being so big, being able to make a lot of different games, could they do it? Could they make a Resistance 4? That could definitely happen. And again, out of the two, I don't think Infamous needs a remaster or a remake to make a brand new Infamous. I think if after Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch says, okay, we're making a new Infamous game, I think they can sell it just on that. With Resistance, I don't feel like you can just come out and say, we're making Resistance 4, because really, again, there is a storyline there. There's a really good storyline there with really good characters and just a really solid game, but the games did not sell. Now, with that being said, same thing with Prototype. That does not mean nobody likes these games. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean nobody bought them. People did buy them. People do love these games. There are a group out there, and again, what do you do with remakes? You test the waters. You say, hey, do people like Resistance? Now, with Resistance, it's like that, but with a slight twist. It's okay. It never found its footing on PS3. Maybe like Killzone was hurting it too much. Maybe just people weren't interested in it. Obviously, we had like Uncharted back then. We had God of War. I mean, you think of the PS3 exclusives. There obviously were quite a few of them. Resistance, I don't really know if you would put in your top list, right? Again, Last of Us came out. Obviously, that was much, much later, but we had Last of Us. We had Uncharted. That's when Uncharted was born, was on the PS3. We had God of War, which really took off, obviously. So we had a lot of games that kind of took over for Resistance. Resistance being a first-person shooter, kind of in a complete genre of its own, right? But again, Killzone was the same kind of thing. So we don't really, maybe they have some ideas of why Resistance didn't work as well. Maybe they have some numbers that can prove a certain kind of theory. I think Resistance is a classic example, though, of a game that I think could actually do better now than it did back then. You bring it back, you'll probably be guaranteed to have all the people that originally played it to play it again, and you'll also, I think, get some brand new people. Killzone, hopefully. Now, I like Killzone. I actually think Killzone's a pretty solid franchise, but I think it's moved on from. I don't think, we could get, there were rumors of a Killzone multiplayer game, a multiplayer only game for PS5. Maybe that still happens, but hopefully, majority-wise, they've moved on from it. I think Resistance would still work really, really well now. I think a remake, again, is very much deserved, and I think it would really help the franchise. Number one, Sly Cooper. This is a guarantee. This is a slam dunk one from me. This is the one that I think is in need of it the most. Sly, it's disgusting. It's truly disgusting what Sony has done to Sly Cooper over the last little while. I get Thieves in Time didn't work. I get Thieves in Time was, them trying to bring back, obviously, a franchise from a while ago, which is kind of what we're talking about right now, right? And it sold okay. It did okay. Really, that entire game was above average, but it wasn't great, right? Review scores were good, they weren't great. User scores, people that actually played, people that bought the game, they were good, they were not great. Sales were solid, they were not great. all of those things. And then what happened after that? Nothing. We know from Sanzaru that they had like additional levels that were already made, already kind of like greenlit, but Sony didn't tell them to release it yet. They still technically have those levels like on their computers right now. They wanted to make more Sly Cooper. They were very willing to basically make like a Sly 5. This is a franchise that you see, I love the Crash remakes. I love the Spyro remakes. You look at what Crash did. Crash got the remakes, and then what do we see now? Crash gets a brand new game. That's the power of a remake, and there's rumors Spyro's getting a new game too. So, I mean, you can see what remakes can do for games. It just makes me kind of upset when, like, a game like Medieval, okay, I don't hate Sir Daniel. I don't hate Medieval, but at the same time, why in God's name does that get a remake when Sly Cooper doesn't? Truly, is it because Sly has 4 games that you would have to kind of remake? Is that the reason why? Is that there's no studio that's willing to do it? Like, why did you do it for that? And why have you done it for Now, Spyro and Crash are Activision, so that's a little bit different. But why would you do it for some of these games and not do it for Sly Cooper? I think, again, out of all of these, and that's why it's number 1, not only do I think it's the most necessary, but I think it would work the most. It's the oldest game of the games I've talked about on this list. It's the oldest. It's the one that literally is a classic remake example where you have a game so long ago, you're trying to get all those people back, and then you're trying to bring it back for a brand new group of people, okay? Sly is an icon. Sly has always been an icon. I could talk about Sly Cooper for hours. It's one of my favorite games. It's one of my favorite games growing up. It's one of my favorite gaming franchises of all time. I mean, again, I really could talk about this game forever. I think it needs a remake. I think there's a 0% chance we're getting another Sly, like a Sly 5. I think there's a 0% chance we're getting that before a remake. I think a remake or a remaster or something that puts all of these games together is the most likely thing to happen. And even that, for some reason, Sony is just deciding that we're not going to do that. I don't get it. I think it would sell very well. I think it's in need of something like that. You have these games that are actually all on different systems. I mean, Sly 1, Sly 2, Sly 3, I mean, they're all split up. Sly Thieves in Time obviously came out just a little while ago. I mean, it was actually quite a while ago, but I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Okay, it wasn't that long ago. It completely skipped out on the PS4 generation, and here we are now. Here we are now with the PS5 right around the corner. I think it would do a lot of good to have Sly return for the PlayStation 5. But ultimately, we'll have to see, guys. Let me know in the comments below, what is your list? What would you want, or what kind of games from the past would you want remade right now? Let me know your list. Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, let me know if there's any other kind of list, top 3, top 5, whatever, on any game, any movie, any franchise, anything you guys want to see. I definitely like to do at least one of these lists a week. I've been having so much fun making these kind of videos, so let me know what you guys want to see. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up, and check out our Discord if you have not already. The link for that will be in the description below as well. Lots of people there willing to talk about anything PlayStation related, anything, any game or any company related as well, okay? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.